It was another very dry and unseasonably warm day across Central Oregon. On top of that, one of the bigger prescribed burns that we have across Central Oregon, it was first scheduled to get up to 2,000 acres, has jumped its boundaries in some places. It has escaped, and so now that is a 1,500 acre wildfire. You can actually see it if you look at the bottom right camera, that Pine Mountain camera from courtesy of Oregon Hazards Lab. We're going to talk about that and everything else you need to know when it comes to our forecast, including our next cold front, if it's going to bring rain, where we see temperatures drop the coolest, and what happens next, especially through this Mother's Day weekend. So let's get right to it. This is a deep dive into your most reliable forecast for Central Oregon. I am Darrell Winninger, the chief meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and this is just the view across the high desert right now. A couple light clouds, definitely seeing some of that smoke. Now, the Oregon Hazards Labs have two different cameras out at Pine Mountain, and both of them are pointed in the same direction. They're just on different towers, and as of right now, they're both looking at where this fire is, just over that portion of the mountain right there, and you can actually see that smoke plume billowing up. And here through the last several hours, we've been tracking this. In fact, through most of the day, both cameras have been pointed to it. So I'm just going to focus on one of them and set this into motion. This was a prescribed burn, and when I made this graphic, it was still a prescribed burn, but it has become a wildfire right now. And the time lapse shows that smoke is mostly from where we had the prescribed burn during the last couple of days. The camera was moved around a couple of times, but we can just see that it continues to spread little by little. And this is something that was expected. In fact, earlier today, the Interagency Dispatch Center, also known as Central OR Fire on Twitter, that is their Twitter handle, they canceled the prescribed burn that was supposed to bring it up to an additional 500 acres, bringing it up to the 2,000 acre point. But even though they canceled that, the wind still picked up. It still got gusty, and this fire continued to spread. So when we look at the current fires right now, all those little flames, those are all hot spots derived from satellite imagery. If we focus in on the Pine Mountain fire area, you can actually see Pine Mountain right here, especially where that red dot is. And everything down here, that is where we have the satellite-derived hotspots. And those satellite-derived hotspots are also pointing to this fire getting pretty big. Now, the Interagency Dispatch Center called it at 1,500 acres. And when it comes to fire weather conditions, we do have northwest winds that are 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusts of 25 plus. By tomorrow, we're talking gusts of 35 plus. And that's because of a very weak front, or I should say the tail end of a weak front. It's pushing through the high desert, starting during the early morning hours and continuing well into Friday. And as we wrap up this work week and go into the Mother's Day weekend, relative humidity values during the afternoon are not going to be impressive at all. It is going to be dangerously dry. It's already extremely dry. We have relative humidity values. Remember, these are all measured in percentages. And where you have the darker red colors, that's where it's the driest. As of right now, between 10 and 30%. Now, at Pine Mountain, it is 28%. It's a little higher in elevation. And wind gusts at the moment are 25 plus miles per hour. At Redmond, it's 29 miles per hour. In some locations, not even 20 miles per hour. These are just gusts. Now, out at Pine Mountain, where this fire is, those gusts are 24 miles per hour. And so pretty strong winds. As of right now, those are just the gusts. And during the last several hours, remember with this graphic, everything to the left of that white line is observed. Everything to the right is forecast. And we've been getting these winds that are 10 to 15 miles per hour through most of the day. Those gusts at 30 plus, or 25 plus, I should say. 30 plus is what we're really looking at tomorrow. But tonight we do taper off a little bit. Then after midnight, wind speeds gradually start to pick up. That is the tail end of that weak cold front already pushing into the Pacific Northwest. And then it's just going to be breezy for much of the day. Gusts, again, could get as high as 30 miles per hour. Now, a lot of smoke has been put into the air because remember, 1,500 acres, that's rather big. And this was a prescribed burn that got out of its boundaries. Now, we do not see much at all in the way of air quality impacts. It's mostly because winds are coming out of the northwest. So they're strong. They're pushing a lot of that smoke further to the south and to the southeast. So actually, if you're around Christmas Valley, you could be getting some of that smoke. But when it comes to, let me back up real quick. What we're looking at here is the, What we're looking at here is the eSpace and DEQ air quality map, and the DEQ is an hourly average. That hourly average shows that we're just in the good air quality range, and all the little dots that you see on the map that are green, those are all eSpace sensors. These are real-time sensors, and those are actually showing good air quality as well. It's not until we look at a different network. This is the Purple Air quality monitoring network, and it shows mostly in the green until you get down to right around Pine Mountain. So I'm actually going to zoom in and reset this map for you. There is one sensor up there, but it's not showing anything too impressive. It's showing moderate air quality. So that is something we're continuing to track, but for the most part, we just have good air quality all throughout Central Oregon. Now, when we look at some other cameras, these ones are road cameras, courtesy of ODOT. Pardon me, and they all just show dry roads. In fact, a whole lot of shadows on the ground, indicative of the sunshine that we've been coming accustomed to. And here through the next couple of days, more sunshine is expected, but we do get some roller coaster temperatures, and those cool downs are going to be modest. But they happen on Friday and on Sunday, and then again next week. All of these are going to be the tail end of week systems that are pushing through. In fact, the one that pushes through on Sunday, on Mother's Day, that's actually the tail end of a warm front, bumping our temperatures up even more by the time we get to Monday. So Friday at a glance, some AM clouds and PM sunshine. Temperatures still topping out way above average this time of the year, coming out of the 40s into the 70s, and the average high is 66 degrees. The average low is in the 30s. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, but here's what's happening. There's a broad ridge of high pressure out over the Pacific Ocean, stretched into the Pacific Northwest, kind of going right around this low pressure system. Now, this low is going to work its way to the northeast, and the tail end of this cold front skirts right through Central Oregon. And so what we can expect from this is just knowing that, keep in mind that we do have this weak front, but it's going to bring a modest and brief cooling, and it's going to be very dry. Now, highs will be in the 70s before 80s return on Saturday, and then those ups and downs. By Sunday, we're back into the mid to upper 70s, some low 80s, and then by Monday, we pick it back up. So little to no rain is in sight, but we do have some back-to-back week systems rolling through, one Friday and one on Sunday. And when it comes to water vapor imagery at the moment, we have very dry air over Central Oregon, and we can see that next system way out over the Pacific Ocean, but in advance of that very dry air mass, part of our ridge of high pressure. And so this is pretty much going to go around the northern periphery of this high pressure. And what that means for us is that it's going to flatten our high pressure just a little bit and just briefly, then it builds back in strong. And so that means that during the AM hours, we catch some clouds. By the PM, we're back to sunshine, dry, and stronger winds expected. This will be when we get that modest dip in temperatures. Then by Saturday, we warm back up, and by Sunday, the tail end of that warm front pushes through, but it's still mostly going to be dry. Now, when it comes to relative humidity at the moment, we are sitting in the teens and 20s. I already showed you that graphic. It's just also in the lineup down here. Now, in the last 24 hours, we've topped out in the 70s and 80s. The forecast high for today was 79. That's what we got to on average across Central Oregon, 78, 79 degrees. There were some 80s, though, and right now we're still sitting in the 70s with 60s on the map. We have 66 in Sisters, but also still 84 in Warm Springs. So that puts us running between 2 degrees warmer and 3 degrees cooler than we were 24 hours ago. Tonight, we fall back into the 40s. Then by tomorrow, we're topping out in the 70s. So not even as warm as it was today. And today was running a little cooler than the last couple of days. So the temperature's trending down, just not going very far. Now, when it comes to our future precipitation map, we're just nothing. No rain in sight through Sunday. And the latest forecast model has come out, so I can't wait to get to it because the earlier versions of it had some sprinkles in a few of our higher elevations across parts of the high desert. But I don't think we're going to get much of anything, just the ups and downs in temperatures. And by Mother's Day, we're talking mid to upper 70s, some low 80s. It's going to be gorgeous, just not as warm as we're looking at Saturday or the day after on Monday. So it's kind of like a little dip in temperatures just for our mamas out there. Your forecast model shows that next system way out over the Pacific Ocean, also shows this ridge of high pressure that has built into the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk about it. Here through the overnight hours, we do catch some AM clouds, no rain in sight. By Friday afternoon, back to sunshine. High pressure building into the region. Saturday brings with it the three S's of high pressure: sunshine, stability, and subsidence. So really the atmosphere just pushing down towards the surface, and the stability means nothing really developing over the area. And this latest forecast model actually holds on a little bit to that low chance of a few sprinkles, and I don't even think a lot of that is going to be reaching the ground. By Monday, we are back to sunshine across Central Oregon. Let's look at a different forecast model. This one isn't as high of resolution, but it goes out a lot further. This is the GFS, and when I get to Sunday, I'm going to zoom in. So Friday, we get our in and out clouds, PM sunshine. By Saturday, more sunshine than cloud cover, and then by Sunday, this is where that other forecast model actually showed some sprinkles through parts of the high desert. Fast forward, that one keeps it dry. That's what I think is going to happen. More clouds, dry conditions, back to sunshine and warmer on Monday and Tuesday. But by Wednesday, this is when we finally get a chance, a better chance of some light showers. And they're going to move out of here just as quickly as they move in. So not even looking at substantial rainfall with that. And then wrapping up next week back to more sunshine. So between now and 11 p.m. Sunday, no rain in sight. By this time next week, really by Wednesday of next week, that next system could bring some sprinkles to the high desert. Now, wind gusts are still pretty strong across the high desert. Wind speeds, actual wind speeds, are running between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Now, there's a difference between this forecast model and the one I was showing you before. The one I was showing you before was specific to Pine Mountain. This one is specific to an area just right around the North Bend. And this is what I typically use just to show what wind speeds are going to be across the high desert. Now, keep in mind, with different microclimates, it is going to be a little different, but we are still in that breezy stretch for today. Tonight, we come back down to a light breeze. Tomorrow is going to be breezy for many of us, specifically during the midday and afternoon hours. That's because of that weak front. And then by Saturday, we're back down to a light breeze through most of the day. So for tonight, expect 40s with a few 30s on the map. By Friday, 70s and a few 80s. This is our dip in temperatures. This is that modest cool down, or at least the first of. Now, winds are going to be gusty by Friday afternoon, so we're still expecting that Pine Mountain fire to be going. Temperatures aren't going to be as warm, but really, this time of the year when it comes to temperatures and fire weather conditions, the warmer the temperatures are with the direct sunshine, the faster those fuels dry out. But once the fire's already started, it shifts to wind speeds and just how dry conditions are. And we stay extremely dry through Mother's Day. By Wednesday, some sprinkles possible, but before that weak system rolls through, temperatures soar into the mid to upper 80s before coming back down to either side of 80 degrees. So we are looking one more time at the Pine Mountain cameras from the courtesy of the Oregon Hazards Labs, and both cameras look like they have a little bit of fire retardant on them. It looks like there might have been a drop here during the last couple of 30, or I should say the last 10 minutes or so, because we were just looking at it before and we didn't see the pink on the cameras. But both cameras at Pine Mountain are pointed in the same direction at the Pine Mountain fire, and that fire is 1,500 acres at last check. But as we go forward through the next couple of days, Friday's weak and dry front is going to bring a slight dip, a modest dip in temperatures, but stronger PM winds are expected and we stay rain-free. These summer vibes continue right through this Mother's Day weekend. Some ups and downs in temperatures are expected. There's just no rain in sight, and even as of right now, dry as can be. That is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecasts, including any updates we get about the Pine Mountain fire coming up tonight at 6, 7, and then again at 11. So that's it. Join us. We'll see you then.